Welcome to European Railway issue number 94, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme, we travel to Germany for part 2 of our look at the busy main line linking Minden with Hanover. Trip to the Czech and Slovak border region to the southeast of Breclav, not far from Austria. French traction is next as we look at 2 locations on the main rail route from Dijon to Paris. It's off to the Austria-Italian border as our stopover looks at locomotive and train activity at the frontier station at Brennero. Finally, we have part 2 of our look at the BLS line from Brieg towards Kandersteg Tunnel, high up overlooking the Rhone River Valley. In our first section of the programme, we travel to Germany, where we resume our look at the busy main line linking Minden with Wunstorf and onwards towards Hanover. The map here shows the section of line covered in this mini-series, where part 1 was featured in European Railway issue number 92. Our filming takes place either side of the small town of Lindhorst, not far from and northeast of Stadthagen. Again, our maps show the various filming locations used. This is our first position a couple of kilometres to the southwest of Lindhorst. The date is the 22nd of June 2018, and first to appear is one of the frequent stopping services operated by Class 425 units, numbers 053 and 271. Sister units 425004 and 425013 head south with a service from Hanover to Minden. As well as local passenger services, there is an hourly Intercity service each way, most of which are loco and coach operated, such as in this example headed by 101030. The 0700 from Amsterdam to Berlin. Semi-fast services operate using Stadler Class 445/446 double-deck KISS units owned by the private firm Westfalenbahn. These units work the Braunschweig, Minden to Bielefeld and Rheine routes. Interspersed with loco-hauled services are trains formed by Class 402 sets. 402, 019 and 042 form the 0828 from Cologne to Berlin. It isn't uncommon to see 14 trains each hour on this route, with many of these being long-distance freight services. Here we have 185179 on train 41207 from Osnabrück to CZECHIA just west of Hanover. Not far behind is 152086 on this Gremberg to Cielza working. It includes various chemical tank wagons as well as steel carrying wagons. This is the Friday's only container train from Rotterdam to Česká Třebová, operated by Czech operator Metrans. Class 189s appear on cross-border workings, particularly to and from the Netherlands. Here 189003, a working comprised of VTG-owned UACNS powder hoppers, which carry aluminium oxide, forming train 46606 from Žďár nad Hronom in Slovakia to Rotterdam Botlek. We now move to the second of our chosen locations. The date is the 4th of June 2019, and a pair of Class 424 units head east, forming the 1835 DB operated stopping service from Minden to Hanover. Four minutes later, and 101116 powers east with the 1500 from Amsterdam to Berlin. (101125) heads a return Amsterdam service, the 1623 from Berlin. This is one of 6 direct services linking the two cities each day. Class 410 power cars, numbers 410101 and 102, are involved in the ICE3 test programme. Here they head south on a Seat Novo coach test working. A local retired farm worker has parked his bike with us as he entered into a conversation about video cameras. It is passed by 445011 on the 1824 from Bielefeld to Braunschweig. (101017) heads north with the daily Oberstdorf to Hanover Intercity service. Every 2 hours sees an intercity service each way between Dresden and Cologne, using Class 146 electrics. This is 146566 on the 1521 from Dresden. (146551) heads north in the opposite direction. (424025) and (424007) are part of a 40-strong fleet of the class allocated to Hanover S-Bahn services. These units were built between 1998 and 1999. (275103) is operated by North Rail Limited and used on mainly infrastructure traffic. Here it heads south. There are currently 46 ICE2 train sets in operation, each one comprising a single power car and 7 passenger coaches. Here numbers 038 and 005 head north with the combined 1748 from Cologne and the 1752 from Dortmund to Berlin service. The trains will have combined at Ham. (193.896) is operated by ITL and is seen here on the twice weekly Zeebrugge to Trnava in Slovakia car train. (185.061) comes into view with a well-loaded Nimbour to Osnabrück train of Skoda cars, which usually operates on a Tuesday to Friday basis. (185.541) is seen passing by in the opposite direction. Our second location is just next to the nearby road bridge, and we see 185.285 on Novelis Company Train 60709 from Nieuwenheim to Göttingen. The first part of the consist is made up of Jaguar Land Rover curtain-sided containers conveying auto parts. Just 2 minutes later, 445.010 heads north with a service for Braunschweig. 401013 approaches with the 1851 from Berlin to Cologne. This is 424007 and 025 on a Minden to Hanover local. Just 10 minutes later and 101066 Paris South with the 1823 from Berlin to Münster. (101-108) heads in the opposite direction, with the 1700 from Amsterdam to Hanover. (424012 and 425273 pair up to form the 2028 service from Hanover to Minden, a journey which takes 55 minutes with 11 intermediate stops. Finally, in this section, we see 185197, heading north with train 51254 from Vanna Eikel to Sielze. We will cover more of this line in the next edition of European Railway as we work our way north towards the junction station at Wunstorf. It's off to CZECHIA next as we look at traffic on the Breclav to Kuty line near to the border with both Slovakia and Austria. Our brief stopover starts just next to the station at Laroche, before continuing northwest to the outskirts of Breclav. This is a busy international freight and passenger route with around 4 trains per hour typically seen. The date is Saturday the 13th of July 2019. We begin at Laroche as Vectron number 383061, belonging to EP Cargo, based out of Ostrava, heads north on empty grain hoppers. Next, it is the turn of 380014, heading train EC277, the 9:51 service from Prague to Budapest. (19743) nearly caught us out on the front of the 1247 Bratislava to Prague. Slovakian Railways 362008 heads north with the 941 from Budapest to Prague. Express passenger trains are roughly hourly in each direction along this stretch. There is a local all-station stopping service operated by single rail cars between Kuty and Breclav, formed by Class 809 units such as this. Awaiting a clear route south was freight loco number 363028, with a train of type Habines loaded covered wagons. The loco is a dual voltage design, which is a common sight on both the Czech and Slovak networks, from a class built between 1984 and 1990. The loco weighs 87 tonnes and has a power output of 4,665 horsepower under the DC network and 4,100 horsepower under the 25 kV AC voltage, as in the case here. 193896 entered traffic on the 5th of July 2016 for owner Cat Train. On the 26th of August the same year, it began work for logistics firm ITL. Here it heads south with a train from Emden in Germany to Divinska Nova Ves, just north of Bratislava. We move slightly northwest now to a point not far from Szczeclaw, where 186356 heads south with a set of VTG hoppers. In the opposite direction, PKP cargo-operated 383054 heads north on tanks, bound for Ostrava. Slovakian Railways 350018 rounds the curve powering train EC 279, the 1151 from Prague to Budapest. Following just a few minutes later is RegioJet's 386203 on the 1121 Prague to Bratislava service. France can still offer some interesting traction variety, especially on the busier main lines linking Paris with the south. In this section, we stop off at two locations on the old classic main line linking Dijon with Paris. Our chosen locations are just south of Montbard and to the north around the small town of CZECHIA. The map shows the locations south of Montbard. Loco-hauled passenger workings drew us to the route, typified here by BB 7323, working north on the 18th of July 2018 with the 1316 from Lyon to Paris-Bercy. 10 minutes later, and in the opposite direction, we have sister loco number 7241 on the rear of a slightly delayed 1333 Paris to Lyon working. This is 4721, a dual voltage set working the 1334 Zurich to Paris Gare de Lyon. Unit B81761 is a 4-car Class B81500 AGC bimode train set first introduced back in 2005. It is equipped with two MAN 663 kW diesel engines, as well as electric power from the 1500 volt DC overhead. It is working the 1633 Dijon to Laroche-Migennes. Our second location is a half-kilometre to the south and shows TGV number 4403 forming the 1557 from Paris to Lausanne in Switzerland. (26198) is a freight sector loco and is due for withdrawal as and when it reaches its next time for overhaul. As at the end of January 2021, it is still in traffic. Here it heads this short train south. TGV set number 21, seen here, was withdrawn on the 22nd of January 2019, exactly 38 years to the day since it was introduced into traffic. Here it forms the 1653 from Paris to Chalon-sur-Saône. It's time to head north now, and the next day found us near the 4-track route north of Laroche-Migennes towards Paris. Rounding the curve south of CZECHIA are a pair of B81500 units led by number 81759. The train is the 739 from Auxerre to Paris. The units are from a batch allocated to Dijon. Moving north once again, and we are next to the D606 road overbridge, as BB7322 power south, forming the 0836 from Paris to Lyon. The class are expected to last until 2023 on this route, when new units will begin to take over. This is 7409. The overnight sleeper service from Venice to Paris is operated by Thello, and it rounds the curve here headed by 36023. (26177) is still currently active on freight services. Here it heads north on an Eckel intermodal shuttle from Zet to Zeebrugge. (27097) rounds the bend under caution with a northbound intermodal just 6 minutes after the previous train. Between 10 a.m. and 12 noon, and again from 1400 to 1600 on weekdays, is the most likely time to see line maintenance taking place. We'll see a bit of that shortly. At our location, the local gardener was beginning work on the cutting of boundary vegetation. Not sure I would trust him with my lawnmower, mind. The sign here gives a distance indicator to CZECHIA station at just over a kilometre away. Between trains, some shots here of the overhead electric wires and supports, the voltage here being the 1500 volt DC variety. The overhead lines maintenance team, responsible for the upkeep of the equipment in this area, arrived in our vicinity and began replacing some of the contact wire. "7322 follows along behind. A trio of ex-German Class 211 and 212s are next to appear. In order are 212072, 211110 and 212304. More engineers' equipment passes by on the up main. The tracks here are 83 metres above sea level with a 160 km/h maximum speed on all four tracks. The distance from Paris-Bercy is close to 139 kilometres away. "7410 is on the rear of this, the 921 from Paris to Lyon. We have just released a dedicated programme looking at the BB 7200 at work between 1996 and 2019, with 137 different examples seen in traffic on both passenger and freight. Finally, 7239 heads south with the 0846 Paris to Laroche-Migennes, one of two round trips this diagram covers each day. It's to the Austria-Italy border now, as we travel to the frontier station at Preniero, just a few tens of metres inside the country of Italy. A new base tunnel is being constructed below here, and when complete, most trains to be seen will be diverted deep underground. Mind you, it will be many more years until this happens, so in the meantime it will continue to be a locomotive changeover point where a number of trains swap power and crews for their onward journeys. Arriving from the south are a pair of Vectrons, with number 193282 leading. The locos work for TX Logistics. This is typical of the type of freight trains seen on this line. Long-distance passenger trains are powered by Class 1216 Taurus electrics, such as 1216-005 seen arriving with this southbound working, the 934 from München to Bologna. The 1102 from Verona to München restarts with 1216-001 as power. The company Locomotion began operations along this line back in 2001, with Class 189s hired in from Dispolok. The company later bought some of its own. It also owns or hires a number of Class 185 and 186 electrics, as well as newer Class 193 Vectrons. Here 186441, new in 2014, passes Class 189 number 917, which was bought by the company from Dispolok in 2006. The company has also acquired 8 of these Class EU43 electrics, originally destined for Poland. The type is common on the route up to and from Brennero, from north of Verona. (193651) is a number of Vectrons on hire to locomotion. Here it partners 189917. Società Automobilistica Dolomiti Ferrovia del Renon operate regional services in this part of Italy, working from here to Innsbruck, Merano and San Candido. They have 16 of these Stadler Flirt units, designated ETR 170, and 7 similar triple voltage versions. One of 3 versions of the Italian standard Class 245 shunter is seen here. All 3 have the same body shell but a different engine is fitted, creating the 3 subgroups. Emerging from the train shed is 193667. This Mitsui-owned loco is on hire to TX Logistic. The loco entered traffic on the 11th of July 2017.
Dovrebbe fermarsi e andare di qua.
Two more Vectrons arrive with a northbound intermodal. Pantographs will drop as the train prepares for the voltage change in the station. The pair were on hire to Mercitalia at the time of our filming in 2019. In our final section, we travel to Switzerland, as we have part 2 of our look at the BLS mountain line down the southern ramp of the Lochberg pass route west of Brieg. A base tunnel also exists, which takes most of the long-distance passenger traffic and the majority of freights. However, as you will see, the old mountain route is still a busy place, and well worth a visit. The maps here show the various locations chosen at mainly small stations dotted along the route. We begin in the east, not far from Visp, at the station at Lalden. At 801 metres above sea level, it is 123 metres higher than the tracks at Brieg. Rounding the curve is Vectron number 476455 on this co-op train from Brieg to Niederbottingen. As the train disappears from view, you can get an idea of the gradient, which varies between 2.2 and 2.3%. Passenger services along this line are operated by a dedicated fleet of 25 Class 535 electric units, based on the Class 525 Nina fleet used elsewhere on the BLS network. Set numbers 19 and 10 arrive with a northbound service. The Class 535 units also work on the route to Zweisimmen, as well as between Bern and Luzern. In the opposite direction, set numbers 007 and 005 are seen arriving with a train from Bern to Domodossola. These local trains run to an hourly timetable in each direction. Freight traffic is usually intermodal, such as this example hauled by 189, 083 and 107, taking LKW Volta swap bodies from Novara in Italy to Worms in Germany. Right behind were 11346 and 620082 on another northbound working from Novara. (486-504) and 510 head train 43664 from Gallarate to Guilin-Lutherada. Friday evenings and Saturdays during the summer months sees a number of through-car shuttle trains operating from Kandersteg to Iselle in Italy and return. Motive power is booked for a BLS Brownie Class 425 electric. Number 191 is on the rear of this, the 1611 departure from Kandersteg. The views from the station platforms at Egerberg are stunning as the camera points south with the town of Visp seen far below in the Rhone River Valley. Leaving the station we see a Class 460 haul train heading west. 485-006 and 001 are paired up on this Freiburg to Novara lorry shuttle. Slightly away from the platforms we see number 183 heading back to Kandersteg. The car shuttle trains are more commonly seen working between Kandersteg and Goppenstein, which we covered in the previous issue of European Railway. The summer months provides a much better chance to see these trains much more in the open as they head up and down the south ramp line towards and through Brieg. Here we have number 170. The local trains along this route call at stations on as-needed basis, with passengers indicating that they want to board or alight. Here we have unit number 535119. Sister unit 535121 passes on a train bound for Brieg. Around 3 or 4 return lorry shuttles operate along this route each day, taking lorries from Italy through Switzerland and on into Germany and return. Here 485010 and 019 are in charge of this working. The road, which winds its way up to the village from the valley floor, provides this vantage point where we see this pair of Vectrons, numbers 193259 and 193464. With the old Gotthard main line now very quiet for freight since the opening of the new base tunnel, this route provides the observer with a good alternative to see freight trains such as this climbing the steep alpine mountain slopes. moving west once again, and we are at Auserberg station, some 3 kilometres from our previous location. We are also higher up the valley, where the station lies at 931 metres above sea level. Beginning our sequence is this view of BLS Class 425 Electric number 183 on a car shuttle from Italy. (42291) rounds the curve in charge of the 1745 postal service from Brieg to Harkingen. Another car shuttle. This is service number 27032, headed by locomotive 191. It is passed in the opposite direction by 465011 and 465007 on a Basel to Piacenza intermodal service. The opposite train from Piacenza to Basel is worked through the station by 465014 and 018. Seven kilometres to the west lies the station at Houten, together with the Lugilkin viaduct. The line has increased its height above sea level by another 147 metres to 1,078 metres, or just over 3,500 feet, and nearly a half a kilometre above the bottom of the nearby Rhone Valley. Arriving with the 1136 from Brieg to Bern are unit numbers 105 and 107. Introduced into traffic in 2008 and 2009, the units have a total weight of 107 tonnes, have a power rating of 1000 kilowatts, a length of nearly 63 metres, and a top speed of 160 kilometres per hour. Classmates 535, 104 and 116 have charge of the 1039 from Bern to Brieg. 620-070 and 11348 head a container train from Milano to Zeebrugge. Most northbound freight trains operate over this, the old line, whilst most southbounds run through the base tunnel. (465-010) and 425-192 head a northbound Meltzo to Rotterdam container train. Extra power at the rear is provided by 465-002. Again, with some superb scenery on offer, 420 345 and 620 065 power towards the camera with train 43740 from Novara to Ludwigshafen in Germany. You can expect around 2 northbound freights per hour along this line, although do expect longer gaps with trains often running in waves. Southbound services are less predictable, but early morning and during the evening is the most likely times to see an increase in activity away from the base tunnel. (194) and 178 make a great sight, passing with empty Gefco Cartix from Parma to Montbard in France. Not far away from the station is the Lugelkin Viaduct, which gives spectacular views over the Rhone Valley. Here 535 112 heads north. A fairly unusual occurrence these days is this Class 566 unit, number 237, seen here on this empty turn bound for Brieg. (620 008) in the Crossrail livery and 11261 head north light engines. This is the view looking west. This pair of Class 465s nearly caught us out. If you look at the viaduct's stone supports, you can see that the bridge was once single track. Finally, a pair of Class 535s head north with a Brieg to Bern local turn. We hope that you have enjoyed watching this edition of European Railway.